What is up, my little baby internet land? I am Lynn and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Over here, what I do is I put together or do some sort of crafty thing that's good for making my fingers sing and talk about whatever's on my mind grapes. And whatever's on my mind grapes right now is actually the craft that we're doing. I know, that's a rarity, right? But this thing is, I needed a vape case for reasons, and I did not want to give Amazon $15. Figured, you know what? I've got stuff around my house. I will figure this out and make one of my own. The vape case, which is what I'm actually getting started on right now, that is actually a piece of trash. So have you ever been in a tent before and you get that little bag that has the tent stakes in it and things like that? That's what this is. Now, I know that those aren't really thick, so I figured I'd go ahead and reinforce it with like another layer of material. I just happen to have this little skull print. A teeny tiny side note about all of this, I did actually put this together on the day of the initial economic boycott, blackout, whatever you want to call it. Figured what better day to DIY something with things around my house than the day when we're all intentionally not spending money with people. Which, not gonna lie to you, Marge, is actually inspiring to see, because America has such a problem with overspending, and that is definitely carrying over to the billionaire regime, you know, that's going on right now in the country as well. So another thing that I actually want to talk about is damage from capitalism, right? So while I've been sick this whole time, I'd say for about the first 4 or 5 years, and even now, like if an idea pops in my head that I think might sell, I'll make it, I'll post it online, and then every day my hopes will be dashed just a little bit more because my awesome thing is not selling at all, right? The thing is, I kind of based my rehab activities in the beginning around what could sell, what could get me some sort of profit, because here I was sitting here going through this whole disability process, which is years upon years of them essentially just waiting for you to die. I think that's like the goal. They would prefer you just die and never make it to the point where they have to issue you a check, because that makes it like so much easier on them if they just have to like stick a death certificate in that file, right? I was spending all these years going through the process, filling out every set of paperwork they sent me, and you know, losing my mind a little bit more with each one, because I was sitting on a couch. I couldn't move. Like, I had to use a wheelchair to walk, and my fingers were not thinking at all. So, you know, but I was trying to monetize every single profit or every single hobby that I had. The problem with that is, though, if people don't want to buy what you have because you make shitty stuff, you make shitty stuff. I don't know how to make better stuff. I used to be able to do better things, but since the brain damage, since the sepsis, since all of that, I can't make better stuff. So I post what I post and hope it sells, and then when it doesn't, I realize that yeah, I'm reliant again on the American government to finally answer me, which they did, you know, 7 years in, but now I'm pretty sure it's what's actively giving me high blood pressure. I got my labs done the other day, and for the first time in a while, like, everything was good. My hemoglobin was 15.2, totally healthy, everything was good. My blood pressure was through the roof. I haven't changed anything with my diet, really. I haven't changed anything with any of my lifestyle stuff. So the only intrusive theme? Politics. And not just politics. The way they keep going back and forth and up and down with whether or not Social Security, disability, Social Security, retirement payments are going to continue. They just keep going back and forth with the news, and honestly, it feels like I've been here before, because I kind of have. I was here for 7 years, going through the process, waiting to find out if I would ever be approved, and then kind of waiting to see if I happened to die during the process, except now they're just doing it on a mass scale, where they're releasing these crazy, like, announcements that if you miss your payment, when they don't allow you to keep active cash on hand for the most part, by the way, if you miss your payment and you're a fraudster, you would call and complain. But if you're legit, you'd just say, oh, they'll figure it out, and I'm sure it'll be okay. But like they're doing it on a mass scale. I can't be the only one whose blood pressure is suffering from this. I can't be the only one that feels like they're trying to just unalive me, you know? Whatever word we're using on TikTok this week, I don't know. It's really stressful, and I think it's not just the politics itself. I've been political my entire life, since I was a little 8-year-old listening to Ann Richards speak. I was a little Girl Scout, and I was just enamored with the words coming out of this woman's mouth, and how she was talking about women and girls. They can grow up to be anything. And I was so enamored with her speech and her words, right? I've always been political. I tried to campaign for Bill Clinton when I was a little 8-year-old living in Texas, of all places. Don't do that, by the way. It's a bad idea. They'll probably shoot you in 2025. But anyway, I've always been political. And yet I've never had a blood pressure problem. Never. I've never had a blood pressure problem. But somehow right now, when they're actively talking about, essentially, look, when you're on disability, you live very hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck. Most of your money is gone before the 20th of the month, because what you're doing with that money is you're paying your bills, you're buying groceries, you're buying your medications, you're paying for any doctor's visits that your systemic insurance won't cover. There's quite a few expenses in there, right? Most people on disability are out of money before the month is over. So on the first of that next month, if that check doesn't hit, I don't have any other income. I already said, like, the things that I have made through the years that I've tried to post online, maybe I'll sell one or two here or there. I think my most successful thing was a sign. It was a little wooden thing that I stained. It was actually really cute, Live, Laugh, Lobotomy, and then Etsy pulled it from my shop. It was the most successful thing. I think I sold about 15 of them at, $10 a pop over a period of a year and a half. That's not sustainable, and that's also not going to leave me with a lot of cash on hand. I don't have a savings account because that's considered an asset. I don't have money to live on if they do not deposit my check. And so I just get to just shush about it. Just be quiet and, not complain. Because, good Lord, if I were to complain, that must mean I'm a fraudster, right? Big old fraudster. Yeah. Not a person who's living by the rules of the Social Security Disability Program. Even if I had the ability to have $2,000 in my bank account, which I don't. But I'm laughing because it's laughable. They're just waiting for me to die again. They're always just waiting on that. They'd love for it to happen. They'd love to not have to cut me a single check from it. Just be gone from this world. And you know what? At the rate my blood pressure is going, I might just have a heart attack if that deposit doesn't hit on April 1st. I'm really sorry this video is such a downer. I've just been in such a place where I'm like confronting my own mortality in a very real way every single month since January 20th. How is a person supposed to live under this stress? I guess they're not. I'm just one of the early casualties probably, because I don't see this going another way. Not with that much of a blood pressure spike. I really thought this country was better than electing a dictator who has a buddy who called people the parasite class. I worked really hard for this country. I've paid in for many years, and then one day I got sick and they fought me on giving me the bare minimum to live on for a very long time. And then when I finally got it and am able to work on improving my body and my mind and all of these things and figure out coping mechanisms to work with my body when it's doing its tiny little quirks that really throw a wrench in my entire day. That's what I've been doing. I make all of these crafty things because I'm working on rehabilitating my fingers, because when I was 31, they just stopped working completely one day. And every time I've tried to do physical therapy, I just end up injuring myself because they tell you it's gonna hurt, keep pushing. So I just keep pushing, and I don't know when to stop. It's a sensory thing. I'm not I don't know what pain is good pain and what pain is oh no pain. I don't know what to tell you. Pain is pain to me. But now that I finally had the chance to work on my body a little bit, try and iron things out so I can be like a contributing member of society in some way, shape, or form, I guess that just really doesn't, I guess that wasn't something to hope for, working out. So here I sit. My deposit probably won't be here on April 1st. April Fools. On me. Biggest joke ever. There aren't really any employment opportunities in my very small town to start with, and the ones that are there aren't going to be willing to overlook a many-year gap in employment thanks to being ill because my body decided to fail on me one day. So, on the real, I'm gonna figure this out. I always do. Unless I just have a heart attack on April 1st. Because, I mean, that is still a possibility with my blood pressure being where it is. It's totally possible. They told me that I need to, like, calm down and make lifestyle changes and figure out how I can lower it. I don't know what lifestyle change can fix this. I'm really sorry to be a downer today. And here I was making this really cute thing in this video. And I don't know what to do from here. And I know I said I'll figure it out, but I am not even confident in that, if I'm being honest. I suspect this is, they're getting what they wanted, right? That's what they want.